Hey there, my name's Alex. Perhaps you better know me as my art alias Consume, and today I have something a little different for this channel, a tutorial showing you how to design, upload, and code a custom Bandcamp layout using a series of templates and actions that I have created exclusively for this tutorial. Now, without wasting too much time, I'm going to jump right in and show you what's inside the template and what it could do for you. Now, if we open it up in Photoshop and look in the Layers panel, we'll see a series of color-coded groups, and these all pertain to elements we'll be designing for during the course of this video. So first up, there's the yellow group called Body, which hosts all the text groups we'll be coloring using Bandcamp's built-in design panel. This folder, as it is right now, serves to demonstrate what the final layout will look like. White rectangles represent items for sale in the merch section, and various text colors laid out exactly as we'll see them later on when we begin adding our art to Bandcamp's website. Also in this folder are placeholder images to mimic Bandcamp's appearance. Also in this folder is a layer that represents Bandcamp's body color. The second major group, colored with orange, is the standard banner group. This group is useful for creating a traditional style layout, and its content correlates with the green group, background. The third and final major group, colored with red, is the extended banner group. This is what I consider to be the core of the template, and we'll get a little more in depth with that in just a bit. So just really quickly, for those interested in a straightforward layout, I'm going to put together something quick using the standard banner method, using artwork that, at the time of this recording, could be found on my actual Bandcamp. You'll see that the banner will only utilize the white space at the top, and the background will only utilize the gray on either side of the body, as seen here on my actual Bandcamp. I've gone ahead and lifted my banner and background from this layout, saved it to my desktop, and I'll be dropping it into the template to show you how it all fits. If I navigate to the place where I saved it, now I'm going to open it with Photoshop. You can see that the dimensions match Bandcamp specifications. I'm just going to copy this and paste it into the template under our standard banner, and I'm going to load up the selection, the layer mask rather, on the group and center the banner to it. You can see it fits perfectly. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the background. Just Control A, Control C for copy, Control V for paste into the background folder. That's very important. And you can see sort of what my current Bandcamp looks like. The only thing I need to do here is to center it. And if we go back into Bandcamp, you'll see that this is almost exactly what you would see on my actual live Bandcamp. There we go. So in most cases this is good enough, it serves its purpose, but the reason that I created this template is so that you can do something a little more eye-catching for your Bandcamp, to kind of stand above the rest. And the way we're going to do that is utilizing the red folder extended banner. And we're going to take some art elements and drop it in there to create something much more interesting than just your standard banner layout. So let's assume your band or brand already has artwork made and a logo to accompany, and we're going to just take separate elements of design that we have available and just start dropping them into the extended banner folder and start piecing together a layout that looks interesting and is a little bit more dynamic than the average Bandcamp. So I'm just going to place this little skeletal fetus thing in, and I'm going to start shaping it around so it creates sort of an interesting look to the page. I'm going to start by scaling it down using your standard transform tools and kind of rotate things into place and start feeling out what I think is going to work later on down the road. So now I'm going to click on the background image in the background folder and set my color to black to match the artwork and just fill the background color with black. So now you can see it's starting to look a little more consistent. So here in the standard banner folder, we really don't need anything inside of it if we're using the extended banner. So I just turn that layer off. Now I'm going to bring in my company's logo and just drop it in the extended banner folder again. So just going to rename everything for the sake of being organized, knowing what I'm looking at. And I'm going to again move everything into place in a way that catches my eye, or a way that I think makes sense. Gonna rotate it, scale it down, start nudging everything into place. And now something really interesting about the way we're going to be doing things today is that not only can you create a layout that bleeds into the background and connects the top banner, but we could also start creating links that you could actually click on that are image based using something called image maps, which I will delve into just a little later on in this tutorial. So I'm gonna start laying out my text, adding different elements, kind of doing things the way that I think they should look, and I'll fast forward once I find a layout that I start to, really like. And here we have the final product. So there's no real set rules, just some general guidelines to follow when creating a layout. The most important part is that you experiment until you find something that you like, something that you think looks good. So now that we have a background and banner that we like, we're going to go into the body folder and start color coordinating the various layers here, so that when it comes time to start working inside of Bandcamp's appearance panel, we'll have a general guideline to follow, and we'll see how those all correlate, and keep them kind of consistent with the layout that we've created. Here we have the text color. I'm just going to double click it to open up layer styles, go to color overlay, make sure it's set to normal, 100%, and I'm just going to sample one of the colors in my background. Hit OK. I'm going to do the same thing for secondary text color. Double click, color overlay. I'm going to use the eyedropper to sample a color, and there we go. I'm probably going to leave everything else the way it is just for now. I like the way things look. So now that the artwork is the way I want it, I have to save the banner and the background as separate images to upload to Bandcamp. There are various ways that we could go about doing that. First, I'll show you the manual way, and then a method that uses two actions I've created to basically do the whole thing for you. So first step is we need to merge all the layers into a single layer. If we poke around in the drop-down layers, we'll find a few merge options, but likely not the one that I prefer to use. Here we see merge visible and merge group, but both are destructive moving forward. So instead of using either of these, what we're going to do is just select the topmost group. Going to hit Control, Alt, Shift, and E all together, and what that's going to do is merge every visible layer onto a single layer at the very top. If I invert it back and forth, you could see that it is indeed all merged into a single layer. So now that we have a single layer to work from, we're going to make various selections and just copy and paste them into new files and save them for output. So I'm going to hold Control or Command and click on the layer mask for standard banner, and that's going to pull up Bandcamp's standard banner size. We're going to click on our merged layer and we're going to copy it using Command or Control C. We're going to create a new file to work from, Command or Control N, and hit OK. We can see that the dimensions are exactly what they need to be. Now we're just going to paste it here. I'm going to merge it down, and then we're going to save it for Bandcamp. Now there's tons of different options you could do, and there's lots of theories about which is the best format for web. Certainly sites favor one format over another, and that's all research that you can do in your own time. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to save it as something random. We use the same method for the background. We load up the selection for the extended banner by control clicking on the layer mask. Now we're going to hold Alt and Control or Command and click on the standard banner layer mask, and what that's going to do is remove the banner from the top. Now I'm going to invert the selection and fill the whole body with the body color that we're going to have inside of Bandcamp. Now I just opened that into a new document, pasted it, and from there I could save it. Now, all of that is fine. That's pretty much how I would do this every single time. However, I've went ahead and created a series of actions that will do exactly what you just saw, but pretty much in the blink of an eye. So all we have to do is go to the Actions panel. You'll find that in Windows. Then we click on that little icon in the top and load actions. What we're going to find is this folder. Now there are two options here, export header and export background image. So if we hit play on export header, it automatically did everything that we just saw, kicked it over to a new file, and it's ready to save. So I'm actually going to use this and apply it to my Bandcamp. So for the sake of this video, I believe I used the GIF setting and kept it pretty standard. It's a really small file size, and I'm not working with a lot of color on my personal project, so I'm just going to hit OK with what I got. And it cut down the time that we took to do that dramatically, and made it pretty much an instantaneous thing. Here we can see it's saved out, ready to go straight into Bandcamp. So I'm going to close this, don't save, and you'll see it named the merge file we created delete me, so just go ahead and delete it. Now I'm going to follow the exact same process for export background image. Now this action has an extra step, and for the sake of this tutorial showing you what it's going to do, I'm going to switch my body color to red. You'll see why in just a second. So now that it's red, I click on my export background image. I'm going to hit the play button, and you'll see it comes up with a prompt. Basically, what you have to do from this point is use the eyedropper tool to select your body color, and once that's done, we're going to hit play in the Actions panel to resume the whole process. Right-click eyedropper if it's not already selected. Select the body color. Now I'm just going to go over to the play button in the Actions panel and resume. So what you're going to see is it's going to fill all of this area with this red color the second we hit play and kick it over to a new file. There it is, ready to go, straight into Bandcamp. Save it with whatever settings you want. I'm gonna delete this and actually use this whole process for my Bandcamp. Set this back to black. Start at the very beginning of the action, hit play, select the body color, and resume. And it's ready to go. I'm going to save it as a GIF again. This is only for my specific layout. You might find that something else works better for you. And now both the background and the banner are ready to be uploaded straight into Bandcamp. No mess, no fuss, all done with the assistance of actions. So now, in Bandcamp, we're just going to navigate to the top, assuming we're logged in. I'm going to delete my header, and this is probably what you're going to see if you don't already have one. Click Upload Custom Header, navigate to where you saved your file, select your header, and hit open. There we have our header. So now we're going to navigate to the top of Bandcamp, click on Design, and there will be a section for a background image. I cleared mine, selected Upload, and then just select the background that we generated using the template. Now there are different behaviors you could set for your background. You can have it repeat horizontally or vertically. For this instance, I want neither of those. Background behavior I'm going to leave at default because the background was created at the exact size I wanted, and alignment will be set to center. If it's anything besides center, it's always going to force itself to the edge of the window, displaying it in a way that doesn't really work for our purposes. By telling it to align to center, we're basically telling Bandcamp to always make sure that the background is going to be relative to the content, the body of our Bandcamp. Now that everything is in place and looking like it did in Photoshop, you'll notice that if you click on our header image, it links back to the same page over and over again. None of the links that we designed will work right out of the box. Before addressing that issue, let's take another look at the design panel. Now, all of my text colors are gray, but they're not the same shades of gray that I chose in the Photoshop template. Now back inside Photoshop, I'm going to close out the background I left open, delete the Delete Me layer. Now I'm going to double click on one of the layers I chose a color for so I could look at the hex value of the color overlay that we chose as a layer style. Just double click on the color, and you'll see at the very bottom a numeric value called the hex value that we're going to plug into Bandcamp. So I just selected my hex value, copied it, and now I'm pasting it directly into Bandcamp. You'll see that the layers' names correlate directly to the names of different things you could choose within Bandcamp. Same thing, double click the layer, go to color overlay, double click the color, copy the hex value, and paste it into Bandcamp. And now, if we look back and forth, we'll see that it's pretty much all the same. Now, the only thing I'm going to change is I left these values white, and inside Bandcamp, I'm just going to choose another kind of moody gray. And there we go. So I'm really enjoying the way everything's looking so far. The only issue now is that none of these links work properly. And to get them to work properly, we're going to have to create something called an image map. If you click on the name of your page and go down to Profile, it will bring you to a series of settings. I'm going to scroll down. We will see under Custom Header what our current image is linking to. It's linking back in on the Bandcamp page. Now instead, we're going to select to use an image map. Now you'll see there's a little link at the bottom that will tell you a little bit more about what an image map is and what it could do for your page, but it doesn't really go too in depth on how to actually create one. In the end, I just did a quick search using the query create an image map and shows the first link. I haven't tested out any other site, but the results from imagemaps.com worked exactly how I needed them to. Click the link, click browse for file, select your header image, start mapping, and finally continue. So what it's going to do is kick our header over to a very basic interface. To interact with pretty much any tool that you're going to use, you just have to right click. So first I'm going to create a rectangle. Now this rectangle's dimensions are going to be the active area where a link can be clicked. So I'm going to draw a rough rectangle around Facebook. Now under the URL, this is the URL that the link is going to direct to. I'm going to put in my page's Facebook account. Under title, I'm going to put something that relates to the link. Here you could tell I had to mess around with a few settings initially. You can see that when I click on save, it creates a red rectangle. So I right-clicked the rectangle, and I am going to attempt to make it invisible. Eventually, I figured out that all I have to do is set the opacity to 0, and now the rectangle is empty. There's just the image behind it. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the next two links. Now, at the time of this recording, I was a little lazy and didn't bother looking up the actual URLs of all of the links I was trying to put in, but that ended up kind of playing into my favor because it allowed me an opportunity to show you how to fix the code after the fact, just in case you update your links, change any of the URL names, etc. So I'm just going to continue creating various links, and even if the URL isn't right, that's not a problem. We could always change them later on down the road. Now another thing I'm going to do is create one final link that just redirects Bandcamp to itself, since I don't really have a home button. I didn't design a home button. This is just an easy way for people to get back to kind of the landing page of your Bandcamp. It'd be kind of frustrating trying to navigate it without one. Now that we're done, we're going to right-click and get code. Now, we're going to click on the tab HTML code, and we'll see a whole series of things at the bottom. Now at the top, there's an image ID that we don't need. All we need are the codes, all contained within the map. So I'm just going to select everything but that first string of code. Copy it, and we're going to go back over to Bandcamp and drop this in our custom header settings under image map. Now that that's in place, go to the bottom, click save. Now back on our landing page, we could test out some of the links and see if it works. First, I click on Facebook. And here's my page. Now, I do already see one issue though. The username for my Bandcamp comes before the actual URL for Bandcamp. And initially I had done a backslash and put the username after. But it's an easy fix, so I just click on my name at the top, go to Profile, scroll back down to where we pasted the code. Now I'm just going to look for the URL and change it manually. Going to select the username and just paste it at the front. Now that link should work correct. All we have to do is go down, click Save, and if I test it, it should just link back to itself. Perfect. So now that all of the links are working correctly, almost everything is done with this page. One tiny thing that you could do that really does kind of add a nice touch is to create a custom mobile header. I've included a template for that too. At the time of this recording, there wasn't one, but I created one using this little thing. It uses the dimensions that Bandcamp asks for. You'll see I made this and it works on mobile. Here's a screenshot from my actual phone. And to upload it, we go back to our profile. Right under the place where we put in our image map, you'll see there's a section for a mobile header, and I just uploaded it and it worked perfectly. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for checking out my first ever official tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment about what you'd like to see me cover in the future. Visit me on Facebook, Instagram, and be sure to check out my Bandcamp page, where I have all sorts of things available like Photoshop resources and pre-made designs for your band or brand. Download links for the templates and actions will be available there as pay what you want, so maybe consider donating if you found these particularly useful. Thanks.